You want them to get back on the bike. And when kids were little, we fell and we wanted to walk. We kept getting back up. So just for parents, it's okay if your kids fail. You're there as the support system, but it helps them in school to try harder skills, harder tasks when they have the confidence that it's okay if I make a mistake. It's more important to teach them how to solve conflicts. So when things arise, I do try to give them the tools with sentence frames of how to start the conversation, how to end the conversation, how to own up to what you did, apologize when you're wrong. And those productive conversations really help them be able to navigate it when I'm not around.
To root people on, to help them get to achieve their goal. Life is just different, and
right.
Our world is just different, and it doesn't have to be hard. It just has. You have to want. You have to care. You have to think about others first. Hey, what's going on, friends? Welcome back to another episode of the Love Local Chicagoland podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm honored to be able to bring stories to life from within our community. Today, I have a local teacher, Kelly DeGrazia. She's been teaching first through fourth grade for 29 years, my friends, and being able to talk to her and being able to learn about her style and how she wants to be able to help empower the kids and to be able to help lift them up to be the best humans possible. It gives me so much hope for the future. You all have heard me in the past that I think the greatest thing that we could do right now that is within our control is double down on being able to make sure that our kids have strong morals, strong values, and that we come with a helping hand, because not every kid starts at the same place. And I think that's really important. When talking with Kelly and being able to put this story together, kindness is something that really came to the forefront. She has some pretty amazing principles that really have shown in her way of teaching to be able to help the kids thrive, to help them feel like they're a part of something bigger themselves, even if they're in elementary school. You see, my friends, I think that's kind of where all this starts. And if we could focus in on taking care of our kids to make sure that they're the best humans possible, I think we could have a vibrant world. I'm really excited to be able to introduce you to Kelly. Stay tuned and keep listening to the show. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm really honored. I told you, this is like the first teacher that I've ever interviewed, and I sucked as a student. So the fact that I'm interviewing a teacher, it's really humbling. In all seriousness, I just had to make fun of myself. But you're doing really beautiful work. You've been doing it for 29 years. I interviewed Patty as part of the fireside chat with the Cork and reached out to her, who needs to have their story told. And the email didn't take more than 5 minutes from when I sent it, and she said your name. And to me, getting to know you throughout this process and just your vibe, the way that you teach, the way that you love and serve the kids is kind of inspiring. I think the world needs more of it. It's got to be really hard to be a teacher, especially over the last 5 years with COVID and everything else that you've had to be able to deal with. But you continuously show up for your kids, and I think that's pretty awesome. If you could, high level overview, just tell our audience a little bit about yourself. Yeah.
Like you said, I've been teaching for 29 years, and I've wanted to be a teacher since I was very young. And you had me reflect, what was it that made you want to be a teacher? And my first grade teacher made me feel special. I could still think back about how I felt being in her class. I felt happy. I felt safe. I felt loved being away from my family. I was the oldest. And I never had that feeling in school until I hit high school. I just kind of did my studies, did my work, and I wanted that feeling that I had when I was in first grade. And that's what I pour into my class. And that's what I want to do with my students now.
It's really beautiful. You kind of just mentioned it there. You wanted to teach since the first grade?
Since the first grade.
That's pretty crazy that you knew that kind of very early on, that it was in your heart, and you just kept going.
I want to be her. I want to be like her.
That's so awesome. What moved you back then, and how has that changed over the years, and why?
Well, going to school in the 70s and 80s, it really was teachers standing in front of the classroom in like a lecture style. And this particular teacher was very different. She was young, she was vibrant, she was exciting, but she took time to get to know us. She would pull us into the hallway, she would pull us aside, talk to us. And so I don't remember the lessons that I learned. I don't remember how she taught math. I don't remember doing any writing assignments. I know it happened, but it was all about the emotional balance that she made us all feel as a 6-year-old. And then to be away from that for years, going through 3rd grade, going through middle school, just not having that connection with teachers until I became a high schooler and had a teacher that also made me feel that same way that my 1st grade teacher. It's like we can't go year to year just not having that connection with our classmates and our teacher. And that's what I want to make sure happens in my classroom year after year.
That's so awesome. What you're saying kind of takes me back to a quote that I'll probably butcher, but to like people don't remember exactly what you say, but they remember how you make you feel.
Right.
And obviously having that teacher early on and in high school, being able to have a teacher that cared about you, that invested in you, wanted to get to know you, had this huge impact on you. Now, like 29 years in, that's kind of crazy. Like you're like on the verge of retirement, right?
Right.
Like, that's
I know.
nuts.
Don't even get me started on that.
We won't go there. You're just getting started.
Right.
So you said early on you focused on plans and subjects, but later realized it's how they feel, kind of going off of what we're saying. What changed for you during that?
And I went to a wonderful college. I learned how to teach reading, how to teach writing. We even went to a demonstration school because there was an elementary school under our college, the basement. And I felt like I can teach everything. I didn't have children, so when I started teaching, I kind of forgot, even though what put me into this field, I kind of forgot to do it myself. It was still just about the studies, the work, the writing. I wanted the kids to do well on tests. And I was having some behavior problems in my classroom, and I never was taught how to deal with behaviors. It wasn't a class in college. And read a book when I was going through masters about class meetings, and that was what changed my life, is adding more of the social emotional learning within my day and greeting the kids at the door, having meetings, kind of becoming the class family. And my behavior problems really diminished because the kids saw that I was looking out for them. I wasn't trying to punish them. And just teaching them how to deal with their big emotions, which they have. But if they're not taught how to navigate these big feelings, they're just going to have outbursts in the classroom, and they're not ready to learn. So we really take a step back from the school part of the day and really work on our emotional learning, and then we can do anything. We could read, we can write, because we're available to learn.
Yeah, you could breathe, right? And adults have that issue too, but it definitely as kids, it's sometimes it's very hard to regulate for many different reasons. So to be able to start with that seems like a very holistic approach, but also approach that I'm like, we need that, all of our teachers to be able to lead like that and to be able to uplift like that. COVID's had to be pretty tough for you all. I feel like I've talked to some local principals in the area, and you learned a lot during COVID. For you, obviously the relationship gap we talked about kind of became clear during that from what you said. What did you learn about connection during remote teaching and that you'll never unlearn?
Teaching any subject on your screen, you're sharing your screen, but if I'm sharing my screen, I can't see the kids. So I could, toggle back and say, oh yes, they look like they're looking at me, but I couldn't see that reaction. I couldn't see the head nods. I couldn't see what they were doing. And so you felt like you were teaching to emptiness. And I realized that is very challenging for me, someone that thrives on connections with people. It was very hard to teach that way. And even having a meeting, I had more kids that I could see on a screen at a time. So I felt like there was always a few kids that I couldn't see. I couldn't reach. You could tell that they were nervous. If they unmuted, you could hear chaos in the background. And that's very stressful for children. Sometimes they're escaping a noisy home or an argumentative home or a really chaotic home. And school is their escape, and they couldn't escape. So they were feeling parental stress, maybe financial stress, arguing going on within the household. Parents are trying to work while they're trying to help their kids with school. School really is that safe space. And when we took it away from them, we really stressed kids out. And they need that connection with their teacher, and they didn't have it.
Yeah.
And with their classmates, too.
Yeah, so we're born to connect. And I think even as an adult, I learned that, like, belonging and connection are at the root of all this. And I think I took that for granted beforehand, but I couldn't imagine being a young kid having to go through that, where you don't really understand or know everything that's happening. And maybe you have your parents that are working from home. You have maybe your brother, sister that's working from home. That just seems like chaos to me. And then you can't do what we're made to do, which is connect and belong. Right. That's just, I give it to you, teachers, for going through that time frame and pushing through to make sure that the kids got their education and continue to learn and talk about adapting and pivoting. You all did that, and you had to be able to do that to grow, but that had to be a really stressful time. So I'm glad we're out of that time and that you're back in the classroom doing what you love and connecting and uplifting your students.
Well, and parents would even say, I don't know how you do it. I think they saw maybe a little glimpse, like sitting next to their child, trying to help them. It was hard, and they're trying to balance their jobs as well, so it was just hard for everybody.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine it. We were lucky our kids were 4 at the time, turning 5 in the beginning part of it, so we didn't have much to teach them. But I struggle teaching my kids now. I couldn't imagine doing it during that time where everything kind of seemed a little bit upside down and hectic, and especially if you had numerous kids and you had to be able to go through that with them, plus your day job. Plus, make sure food's on the table, et cetera. I'm glad we're past that, and I'm glad we're back to being able to focus in on connecting with the kids and doing all the things that you're doing in your class, and with love and with kindness. I think it's beautiful. The values we teach kids are so important, and you get values at home, but you can also get values at school, and that's very much a part about one of your styles is helping the kids be their best selves, and really getting to know them. Paint a picture for me. You said our class is kind of like a family. What does that mean to you day to day?
We are a family. I mean, we talk about it at all times. So if you're interrupting, tapping your pencil, that's interrupting our learning. Remember, we're a family of learners. So one thing happening over here is distracting everybody. And teaching, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't notice I did that. Apologizing for little things like that. Not in a punitive way, but I care about not just my learning, your learning. And so just teaching them to kind of look, everybody matters in this classroom. Our big word, which is, I have a sign in my classroom, is the word of the year is integrity. And we talk about what that means. Doing the right thing if I'm not looking out for others. If someone is having a struggle, how could you help them out? If someone's having a bad moment, let's not antagonize. Let's give them space. So we just talk about what that means maybe in their home family, and then we're a school family. And we just something little, sitting on the rug, someone was laying down. Well, if everybody laid down, we wouldn't have space. Just thinking about other people, not just yourself.
Yeah.
And so we talk about it. We're a school family. I greet the students at the door every day. They get to high five, handshake, fist pump, or hug. I would say 90% of the time I get a hug from somebody.
Nice.
They decided that before they left for recess, we should get in a line, and we do the same thing. They hug, high five, shake, fist pump before they go to recess, and then at the end of the day, they do the same thing. Mm-hmm. So because we're a family, just like when you leave your house, you say goodbye to your parents, and your parents say goodbye to you. It's the same. In the classroom, I want to greet you, but I also want to say goodbye to you. I want to have a proper goodbye, and it just makes us like a cohesive unit.
Yeah, I love that. And to me, it's you could say it all you want, but if you're not focusing on getting to connect with those students, and you're not, the principle of like, we're all in this together, and my actions might impact your actions, like, those are skills that some adults, from my perception, don't know. But you're showing up, and you're being a part of their story, and you're doing it in an uplifting way. And I love the high fives. I love that type of thing. And like, there's an energy. Yeah, when you talk, I feel like there's an energy to your classroom that is very uplifting. That to me, during this prep call and during this conversation, is just, it gives me hope. And it's like I hope that we can, whether it's teachers, whether it's people in our community, that we could kind of show up like that. Like, what if in our community we just started showing up like we were family, and we cared about other people, and from my actions, how is that impacting others? Those types of things could be ripple effects throughout our communities and throughout our worlds. But you're doing that right in your classroom, and then that ripple effect is going out as they go home. So
we call it dominoing.
Yeah,
in our
real.
classroom, dominoing.
That's real.
When you do the right thing, then more good things happen.
Yeah.
And evil and bad brings evil and bad. So when you do mean things probably are going to happen back to you. But when you do kind things, when you smile, when you laugh, when you help people want to help you. So we call it dominoing in our class.
I love it. Kindness 101.
My favorite
talk
part
to
of
us
my
about
day.
that. Yeah.
So it is something that I did not create. CBS morning, I think it's Sundays, Steve Hartman, our idol in our classroom, he does segments on people that embody good character traits. So what is good character? And then he finds a story of someone who has demonstrated that wonderful quality. So we always start with the word, and it could be mindfulness, it could be gratitude, it could be encouragement, something like that. And then it's a short video clip of someone that is doing that trait. And I always have the kids have a kindness journal. So they write what the word means, and then they watch the video, and then we talk about it, called the takeaway. How could you apply that, what you learned from that video, what that person did, into your own life? And the stories are so uplifting. Today I was asking the kids, what are some of your favorite? One, a little 4-year-old took his allowance, and he wanted to feed. He didn't know what homeless meant. And when he learned, he wanted to feed the homeless. So him and his father buy some food, and he passes them out. Another one is a foster child who wasn't adopted till he was 9. And so he made his mission to adopt old dogs, because no one wants old kids to adopt, and no one wants old dogs. I could go on and on, but stories like that maybe they wouldn't pay attention to it if it was on the CBS morning. But it's on YouTube, and I show those clips. And they told me that I never used to think about other people, and now I start to think about how my actions could be helpful. I also do Run Club, and one of my students in Boys Run Club saw a clip on encouragement, and one of the slower runners, he said, I'm not going to run as fast as I normally do. I'm going to run next to him and encourage him to do the running. So it's contagious. Sometimes they see something that they can really connect with, and then they kind of do it on their own of how to apply it to their own life.
Yeah, I go back to if we all could take that approach to life and want to like root people on to help them get to achieve their goal. Like life is just different, and
Right.
our world is just different, and it doesn't have to be hard. It just has, you have to want, you have to care, you have to think about others first. So I think it's beautiful that you're putting that into the way that you teach and the way that you uplift kids. It's gonna stay with them forever, just like your teachers did that for you, you know. And I think that's a beautiful thing that continuously pays it forward, because you're giving them those and helping instill those skills as we continue to evolve, or they continue to evolve as humans. We talked during a prep call about like the world's changing, the screens and our attention to them could be a dangerous place, and you tie that in with like a lack of connection and community, and it's like, oh, what are we really doing to our kids? You tell parents, set limits on screens and kind of set the tone. What boundaries actually work for fourth graders? And I'm interested because I have fourth graders.
So kids love knowing the expectations on anything. It could be something like if it's writing, they want to know how many paragraphs are they supposed to write. If in Run Club, how many laps do you want us to write? So they love knowing what is expected. And when it's open, you have your iPad, you have the TV, but there's no end time. They're just going to do it until they're tired of it or they're bored. So we do have to set limits, and they will follow. I mean, kids love rules. I know we think that they don't, but they actually thrive in a structured environment. And that emptiness, like just doom scrolling or whatever it's called, and they just can watch whatever. Sometimes that negativity is entering their brains that aren't fully developed, and they don't understand what they're watching.
That's real.
It could be scary. It could be overwhelming. And if they don't have someone to talk to, then it's can be very detrimental to their mental health.
Yeah, I think it could be very detrimental to an adult's health. But you look at a brain that isn't fully developed yet, and who knows what it's going to do. You know, like we're kind of like a science experiment right now with how this is going to happen. But I think we've learned enough to know that it's not healthy to stay in your screen the whole time and always have things fed to you. That it's, you know, when we were kids, we went outside, we got dirty, we came home sometimes when the lights, you know, the street lights came on. And now I feel like some of the kids that's changed because of the screen time, because they're locked in on YouTube or whatever else that they're on. And it's, to me, it's the opposite of connecting, you know, and it's the opposite of, you know, playing with other kids and building those win-wins, the things that you're doing in your classroom.
And they learn through conversation. I see it within my own classroom. They learn more about math when they talk about math.
Yeah.
They learn more about their writing when they're sitting down and sharing their writing. They learn about how to handle a situation when I'm guiding them. And it's the same at home. I know that they're quiet, and sometimes that's what we need as parents is I just need you out of the way because I'm trying to do something. But on a day-to-day basis, it is helpful to them to have that dinner time talk around the table, not rushed, that conversation, the game playing, the learning how to share, and really them learning to wait a turn, how to not be impulsive. I mean, think of just what we watch if we're looking on something on TV. It's like the ads, the everything. It's just so much to take in and to figure out what's truth, what's
especially
fiction.
Nowadays, you know, it's really not healthy for kids to have screen time. I think of like how artificial intelligence could make content now. As a content creator, seeing like the basic AIs and what that could just do already. Imagine what these developed AIs could do, and especially to our kids. So to limit that and to get kids into things that like are more, to me, more human-like, like kind of like we were, not to take it away from them, it's their generation, but to limit it, I think is so important. So thanks for sharing your insights. You compare food for the body and media for the brain. How do you teach kids to notice how content makes them feel?
We were just talking about that earlier this week is how your parents probably want you to have fruits and vegetables. Why is that? Well, it's healthy for us. Well, what does that mean? And then we talk about, well, what could we watch or look at that might not be healthy? A lot of violence, maybe things that are made for kids that are older than you at 9 and 10 years old. Just because it's on the internet and not blocked doesn't necessarily mean that it's appropriate. And talking about, well, if you see something come up and this isn't right, that you click out of it and you talk to a parent. Some kids, unfortunately, have a lot of freedom to watch things. And then what they're telling me that they've seen, it's scary to me because they can't separate the two of what's appropriate for me. And, well, if it's available, I should be able to watch it. So we do talk about how that a lot of the things that we might be watching are scary, or we just aren't old enough to understand it. Yeah. And we need to watch things that are appropriate for us and for a certain amount of time. Yeah,
that makes sense to me. And it's, like you said, tell somebody that's happening too. And then, to me, it's like, well, are settings set up on YouTube or whatever, a platform that they have so that the right things are being fed to them, you know? But nowadays, it's you double check, period. At the end of the day, like, the world's evolving and changing. To be able to protect our kids' brains and what they see, I think, is so important. You talked about doom scrolling a little bit earlier. Kids doom scroll and compare. What rituals help them come back to childhood? Kind of went to like reading and things like that with the family. What else?
The old-fashioned traditions they have been around for a very long time for a reason. Family is so important. I mean, that's where they're getting that guidance, and that takes place at around a dinner table, around a game. I mean, games are still being sold. People still buy dinner tables. But I feel like I've done it too. I'm a parent. I'm a working parent. It's easy to just rush through things, especially when they're 9 and 10 and they're not a baby. So you're like, oh, well, they could sit on the couch kind of off on their own.
Sure.
But that's where they're most impressionable because they still need that parental guidance or that adult guidance that teachers can give them in the classroom.
Yeah, amen. I loved how you talked about like helping them with conflict and with communication within that conflict. To be able to work through that, to be able to build win-wins with each other. I think that's such a valuable skill, not just for kids, but I think for adults too. But it starts with when you're being a kid as well. You coach kids to work things out with each other. What language and what do you say to them to be able to help give them the right tools?
This one I did not create, but I do it in my classroom, is bug and a wish. So it bugs me when, and I wish you would. So really, it's easy for teachers to say, don't do that, let's move on. But it's more important to teach them how to solve conflicts. So when things arise, I do try to give them the tools with sentence frames of how to start the conversation, how to end the conversation, how to own up to what you did, apologize when you're wrong. And those productive conversations really help them be able to navigate it when I'm not around. So that's what I'm trying to teach them.
Yeah, that I think that's really great. You shared like a story about a kid in recess, and to me that kind of stuck with me. And just teaching kids about the conflict and be able to work through that, I think is just like this lifelong lesson that it needs to happen. We need to be able to solve conflicts with each other. If we're frustrated with each other, we're upset with each other, we should want to be able to build that win-win. So to be able to start with them when they're that young, to be able to work with that, to be able to like identify their emotions and to be able to talk with other people, I think it's such a vital skill that I go back to, like, they're going to remember you when you're they're old, and not like us, we're not old, but
right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you get older, because those are foundational moments that help shape us as humans, and they help us, give us the tools, especially some kids that might not get that at home, I think it's so important that you're able to help bring that out of them at school. So appreciate you. You talked a little bit about productive struggle for parents who want to kind of swoop in. Can you define that, and why does letting kids try and fail build real confidence?
The productive struggle, it's very easy to quit when things are hard, and no one, adults included, don't want to do things that are hard. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to golf because I'm not good at it. But if I took golf lessons, I might want to golf. So kids try to avoid things that are hard. Mm-hmm. Parents know that the kids need to do it, so they are maybe trying to take away either the struggle and just tell them the answer, or just not let them fail. It's hard to watch kids fail. So we, instead of bulldozing, I like the bumper. You might have a little, you're watching them, mm-hmm. and if they fall, you might be there to pick them up, but you're kind of putting them back on, thinking like teaching someone to ride a bike. In the beginning, you have the helmet, you're holding onto the seat, and then eventually you have to let go, right? Mm-hmm. And you were hoping that the kid just keeps riding, but if they fall and they scrape their arm or their knee, you're giving them a Band-Aid, but you're not going to then avoid the bike ever again. Mm-hmm. So you want them to get back on the bike. And when kids were little, we fell and we wanted to walk. We kept getting back up. So just for parents, it's okay if your kids fail. Mm-hmm. You're there as the support system, but it helps them in school to try harder skills, harder tasks when they have the confidence that it's okay if I make a mistake. My teacher's here to help me. My parents at home are here to help me when I make mistakes, because then they're going to want to try new things. Yeah.
That's like a foundational skill. I talked about I wasn't the best student. And I think that was one of the reasons why I didn't get that skill until later in life. Mm-hmm. So when I failed, I beat myself up as a kid now that I reflect. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden it made me not want to do my homework or not want to do those things.
You'll avoid hard things, right?
Yeah, I totally avoid hard things, even mm-hmm. to adulthood, shamefully to say, but it's real. That's why I think it's important for teachers like you and other teachers that are out there and parents to fail, let your kids fail, pick them up. And, in our house, from my life lessons, it's about chiseling upwards. Right. Don't expect perfection from yourself. Learn and grow, try hard things that interest you. Sometimes you got to do things that you don't want to do at all, but you got to get through them. Those are valuable skills that are lifelong that could help you become the best human possible, right? Supporting teachers and telling the whole story. To me, I think in our prep conversation, we talked a lot. You said most teachers love kids and come ready. What do you wish the public understood about a teacher's day?
Well, we never stop worrying about them, just like parents. When they have 25-year-old children, they still worry about them. Mm-hmm. I still think about my students at the end of the day. If I just can't turn it off. Maybe some teachers can, I just cannot. So you're always thinking about your lesson, how to make it better. My best thinking takes place on my way to work, mm-hmm. And my way home. What should I have done different? So we really are always thinking about work. I know maybe the kids leave, but teaching is a job where you can't work at work. So you could teach at work, but you can't plan mm-hmm. while you're teaching. You can't grade while the kids are there. You can't plan for a test. You can't we can't work at work. So we have to work outside of work. Maybe back in the day, right? Back in the day, your teacher would be sitting at a desk grading, and you would just have piles of seat work. But you didn't really get that love that you get from teachers now, at least in my classroom, and the teachers that I work with, that I'm so blessed to work with. We love our kids. So you can't get the job done while you're trying to be the best teacher you could be. So summers and nights, in early mornings and late nights, we're getting other things done that help us be prepared for the kids.
Yeah, my kids' teachers send emails on the weekends. I feel like teachers are beat up sometimes, like, oh, they have summers off or whatever. But I don't think people really realize how much they actually put in.
Right.
And how much work you're really doing, and that there's not that much time off. Like, it goes by quick, I'm sure the summers do, but you have to make things happen, because at the end of the day, like, if you're grading tests, if you're doing all the admin work, you're not really loving on your kids. You're not giving them the values and the things that you bring to the table, which is really what I think us as parents really should want for our kids, is to have that love and support and that extension from the home. Maybe even learn things that we don't learn at home, but we learn at school, and we get to take them back into our home. I think it's so important to be able to support our teachers and to be able to, know that they work their butts off and have a lot of respect, and that they've earned their summers off. But I bet you a lot of people work during the summers too. I know I have friends that are teachers. They're not really off during the summer.
No, we're doing district things.
Yeah.
But really, the time away from the kids is like a time you're decompressing. Okay, how did it work? And every year you get a new crop of kids, so you can't really do exactly the same. It's not one size fits all. I mean, every class learns different. Every group of kids is a little different. You have different maturity levels. So you really kind of have to see when you get back in there in August of how to attack the year. So that's what makes it exciting, though.
Yeah, I love it. If the community wants better outcomes for kids, what's the single most helpful thing they could do for teachers?
I would say always assume good intentions. I tell parents at parent orientation, if you have an issue or you have a concern, come to the teacher. Don't air it on social media. Don't air it at the soccer field, because sometimes it's like it's a misunderstanding.
Maybe an assumption.
Assumption of sorts. So I always say, come to the teacher. Teachers want feedback. They want a partnership. So go to the teacher. That's what I would say first.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, and ask questions and seek to understand, right? All right, we're getting ready to wrap up, but I have a little bit of reality versus myth little section, and then a little bit of a lightning round.
Okay.
So this one, I'm going to give you a myth, and you kind of give me a reality. So values belong only at home.
Kids are in our classroom for 6.5 hours a day. So if we teach no values,
we're screwed.
It's not going to work. We have to partner with the parents.
Yeah, amen. AI and tech can replace teachers.
If you just want learning, and maybe some kids will get the learning through like a YouTube video, but if you want the relationship and you want those kids to really want to work for a human,
the soft skills, you say?
You need a human.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Myth: teachers clock out at 3 and coast through summers. I think we talked about that already. That's not the case.
I don't know any teachers, and I've worked with many. Even those that you think do, they end up leaving the field because there's too many other things to. It's not just about teaching. If you don't have that care for the kids, you're not going to last.
Yeah, because kids are tough. So there's got to be a love and passion for what you're doing. For kids,
it can't just be about the learning.
Yeah, right? Amen. So last myth, kids today are too far gone using technology.
No, you could. If you, like I said with earlier, expectations, when I say, okay, we're putting our Chromebooks away, we're doing this on paper, if that's the expectation, they will do it. Yeah. So I never want to say kids are too far gone. Yeah. It's just, I don't believe that.
We're in trouble if we really get there. Nothing
is permanent.
Every when you get old, I feel like, this is my perception, but I feel like when you get old, everybody talks about, well, that generation, but we're an evolving species, so we're going to change and we're going to evolve. But if we ever really truly think as a society kids are too far gone, we're in trouble. It's
Right.
if they
Well,
are,
it's
we
an
should be going
excuse.
back to get them.
Yeah. They're not
We
too
need them
far
to take
gone.
care of us when we're old.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, amen. So it's a little lightning round here. So quick answers, but give our audience a little bit to go with. A kindness trait every kid should graduate with.
Gratitude.
Yeah, ooh, I like that.
Appreciate the little things that people do for you.
Yeah. One classroom ritual you hope lives on 50 years from now.
Classroom meetings.
Yeah. Why in the classroom meetings?
It builds the whole community, the classroom family vibe. Kids will work for you if they know you care about them.
I love it. Best advice a student has ever given you?
Oh my God, there's too many. One time I was still in my classroom, and I'm like, why are none of my kids in the class yet? They were all waiting to be greeted. And they said, we can't come into the classroom unless you greet us. And at that moment, I knew they need that. So the advice was, don't rush to get work done. Do the classroom greeting at the door, because that's more important.
Yeah.
The other stuff could wait.
It's the connection piece, right? It's showing that you care. I love that. A sentence you hope a former student says about you when they're 30 years old.
She loved us.
Oh, yeah. You're awesome. I appreciate you. This is you were nice to me. My first teacher I've interviewed. I think you've given me so much hope. I think, not interviewing a lot of teachers, getting to know you, getting to know Patty through previous conversations. It's just like, it's time to double down on our kids and support our teachers, to support the people that work in this field so that they can help our kids be better than ever. We could learn in many different facets, but the soft skills, especially you teach within your classroom, and how you bring people together and how you uplift the kids with support and like a love in that family type environment, is like, we need more of that in this world. So
It brings joy to a teacher's life too when teachers do that, because they're getting it, but you're also getting it from them, and it just makes your day so much happier. Yeah,
that's so beautiful and well said. Well, anything we haven't talked about that you want the audience to know before we close up?
I will say, if any teacher out there is feeling overwhelmed, either change grades, change schools, change subject areas, because you went into teaching for a reason, and just don't forget your why.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's just you're maybe bored with the grade. Don't give up on the field, because we need good teachers. And you went into teaching because you wanted to change kids' lives.
Yeah, so keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah, that's great advice. And 29 years into this.
I know.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel that long, though.
Yeah, well, when you love what you do, I feel like it probably just before you know it, it's gone, but it goes super quick, right? Because you have that love and that passion for what you do. So thank you for what you do for our kids. Me. Yeah, our pleasure. It's not just me. We have a team of people that are putting this together, but we believe stories matter. We believe that we could all learn from each other and grow from each other. And obviously a teacher that you're fitting right in that mold too of sharing that in your own way within your classroom. So keep loving and supporting the kids. Keep teaching them the soft skills. You're retiring soon. We won't get into that, but I'm sure you'll probably do something with love and uplifting, and when you get to that as well. But thank you so much for being on the Love Local show.
You.
Appreciate you. So, my friends, kindness is important, and supporting our teachers is important. We can only do so much as parents, and we need their help to be able to make sure that our kids thrive. I don't know about you. I want my kids taking care of me when I'm old and doing it in a right way. And I want them to have good values and good morals and work collectively with other people and to think about other people. People like Kelly has been teaching 29 years. It's truly inspiring, and she's impacted so many kids' lives. It's time we show love, more love to our teachers, and work, as she said, work collectively and collaboratively with our teachers so that we can make sure our kids are better than they've ever been. The world's changing. Technology is a part of this, and we need the kids in soft skills. The technology stuff is going to be done by robots. I'm going to put money on that. But the soft skills as humans will never go away. People like Kelly and teachers like Kelly bring that to light, and I hope that you enjoyed the show. If you're looking to be able to connect, or if you have other good stories, we want to know about them at Love Local. Let us know. Shoot us a DM, and hopefully subscribe to our channel as well. Support local, love local. We're stronger together. Peace.